So what do we have here? We've got a yeast starter. I put a little bit of DME, which is a dry malt extract, with some water, yeast, and the whole purpose is to activate the yeast, let it multiply. So when we add to our wort, you can see it's already bubbling, producing CO2. So when we add to the wort, there will be plenty healthy yeast, that will speed up the whole process, and hopefully will produce a little bit more alcohol. What do we have on the on the outside? We're sipping our specialty grains. Those are the specialty grains. That gives a nice color. And by the way, we're making a red Irish ale. So the whole purpose, sipping those is just to give a nice extra flavor and the color. And the way it works, you have to kind of sip it for like 20 minutes or 170 degrees, whichever comes first. So we have a little quite powerful burner, and that's basically what it is. So we just waiting 20 minutes or until our extract reaches 170 degrees. So we still have a little ways to go. Okay, we'll come back. Wort is boiling, as you can see. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna remove it from the heat.
Hot. It's very, very, very hot. Ooh. Ooh, jeez.
Back here. Okay.
That didn't sound too good. Oh.
Okay, so now what we do, we add, it's called LME, liquid malt extract. And we're gonna just stir it. The reason I remove from the heat is so it doesn't scorch, when I pour it in. And it's good. Okay.
Oh, nobody.
I need to start the fire. Okay.
No, hot. Hot. Faust?
And now we're gonna put it back on the burner.
Ooh.
And bring it to the boil.
And how long does it boil for?
Well, right now I need to bring it to the boil, then we're gonna add the first hops. They need to boil for 60 minutes, and then
Wow.
30 minutes before the end of boiling, we're gonna add a second hop. So one set of hops will have to go for boil for an hour, and the second set of hops for 30 minutes.
Wow.
So yeah, that's good for now. We'll come back.
Go.
Okay, so we see it starts to boil. So we're gonna add hops. We have to be really careful to avoid boil over. So we're gonna add, and we check the time. Okay.
6:34.
Okay. Now we have to stir it. You may start
Yes.
boiling, foaming, so we need to be really careful, very vigilant.
smells really good.
Yeah.
Kind of like lemonade, sort of.
Well, we already sipped those specialty grains. We added.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, for 20 minutes. Now we added some hops. And
So what grains are in there right now?
there's a bunch of
A
different
mixture,
ones. It's
okay.
a total mixture, yeah, combination.
And you got the spoon there.
Yeah, I gotta have a spoon. Okay, so it's boiling. So that has to boil for an hour, and after 30 minutes we're gonna add a second set of hops. Those hops are in the form of pellets. It's hot today, so
Yep.
you may want to show the temperature on the thermometer.
$94. Yes. 635.
Okay, well,
All right.
that's good enough for now. So I'll be just keep on stirring, and we'll come back to you. Okay, so we're 30 minutes into boiling. We added the Willamette yeast. Now we're gonna add U.S. Goldings. And we're gonna boil those for the remaining. They smell a little bit different than the other ones, but then Willamette. Similar but slightly different. So we're gonna dump those and just be careful. Okay, and that's it. So we're gonna let it boil. I need to watch it for another 30 minutes. 10 minutes before, and I'm gonna add the chiller, the copper coil, into the boiling water, so let it sanitize. We'll come back to you. See ya. So we have about 12 more minutes of cooking time. So basically the idea is once we stop boiling our wort, okay, we need to cool it down to at least 100 degrees Fahrenheit as quickly as possible. So what I have here is well, they call it a wort chiller. That basically that's a copper tubing that will go into the pot, and I'm putting it just about 10 minutes before, and let it boil to sterilize my copper coil. Then what we have here, I've got a cooler with 20 pounds of ice and water, obviously, and I have a pool pump. So the idea is the pump will run ice cold water through the coil, cooling down the wort. Okay, simple as that. So we still have 10 minutes. We'll come back in 10 minutes once we basically start our pump. Okay. Hello again. So it's been an hour. We've been boiling our wort for an hour, and also in the last 10 minutes, as you recall, we have sanitized our coil. So the time is up. What we're gonna do, we're gonna basically turn everything off. Okay. And we're gonna basically run our chiller. And there we go. So the pump, as you can see, The pump is basically pumping, and that water is warm. It's not very hot, but it's warm. So what are we doing here?
It's pumping water.
It's
from-
pumping. It's circulating the ice.
Oh.
Ice water through the coil,
and then out.
cooling off, and goes back
Oh,
to
wow.
the cooler.
Cool.
Okay. So I'm gonna just cover it
And how long does that go for?
until the temperature drops below 100. So right now it's already 200 degrees. So it dropped 20 degrees just when we started up. So it happens pretty fast.
Cool.
So that's exciting. So otherwise we would have to basically put the pan in ice water in a sink or bathtub. So yeah, you can show the temperature, the gauge. No, come here, come over here.
Sorry.
See, so 220, that's the boiling temperature, and you can see it's already how fast it's dropping.
Wow, it's already at 180.
Yeah, see.
Cool.
So we need to basically chill it to at least 100 degrees. And then once it's done, we're gonna transfer the wort, which is unboiled beer. We're gonna transfer to this carboy, which we basically sanitize. And it's basically, yeah, it's just draining and it's ready to basically to be filled with wort. And we're gonna fill it up and pitch some yeast to it and put a bong with the airlock and let it sit for 2 weeks. So when we're gonna transfer it to a carboy, we'll come back, so stay tuned, we'll be right back. Okay, so it took us about 5 minutes to cool it down from 220 degrees to 90. So I put my wort cooler in the remaining water in the cooler, let it rinse off, and we're gonna bring this stuff here, and now we need to transfer it to our carboy. So this is all coming from the sanitizer. I don't need the thermometer anymore. So what are we gonna do? We're gonna slowly transfer, but I want to basically leave all that sediment at the bottom
At the bottom of the pot?
of the pot.
Okay.
Of the pot. I don't want to transfer. But if we transfer, so be it, you know.
And what temperature is it right
This
now?
is 90. This is at 90 degrees, so okay. And we leave that little sludge at the bottom. And my lovely wife will have to clean it after we're done. So now, if you point, I put the electrical tape. This is 5 gallon mark. So now we're gonna fill the water till 5 gallon mark. And what we're using is the Ozarka spring water.
Pure Texas water, huh?
Pure Texas water. It's a good water. Tastes good. If you want a good beer, you have to put good water. Okay. So it looks like we had quite a
lot of foam.
quite a bit of evaporation.
Wow, that was,
This is 5 gallon.
so you still,
We're still short a little bit, so why don't you pause it? Why don't
Okay.
you pause it and we'll come back.
All right, be right back.
Okay, now we're back. So what we're doing is we need to somehow fill it up to 5-gallon mark. And it's
Okay.
coming.
There it is. It's at the bottom of the tape. So
Yeah, so it needs to be at the top.
a little more. Good.
Okay. So this is basically how much water. So we started with a full 5-gallon jug, and we lost it. You can point on the thermometer. I'll come back in a second. Okay. So we're back. So what does it read?
78,
Okay, 78.
80.
So okay, so now it's a trick. Okay, we have this wort before we pitch the yeast, okay, which is here. We're still mixing the yeast, and you can see it's still active after, I would say, 14 hours, 13 hours. The yeast is still active. So in order to feed the yeast, we need to basically give it some air. So this thing, now we go all the way in, all the way out. It's working pretty good. So what are we doing? We're just introducing air to wort before we add pitch yeast. So we're gonna do this process, a few times. Make sure there's enough air in the wort. Yeah, a little bit messy, but that's why we have a towel. Whoops. Okay, see? That looks pretty good. More air, more food to the yeast, it will work more vigorously, faster, producing better beer, better flavor. Whoops. I think that mixture is pretty good now.
Looks like a beer shake instead of
Okay.
a milkshake.
That's our. Let me show to the camera what it looks like. It's basically you got the stick with two paddles like that, so it fits through the opening of the carboy. When you start spinning, it goes like that. Simple idea. Simple idea. Now going back to our yeast. Okay.
There's something on there. Oh,
No, that's the. Okay.
oh, from the beer.
Yeah. So here is basically. Our yeast that's been shaking. Looks really nice, bubbly.
And how long has it been shaking?
About 13 hours. They say between 12 and 24 hours, just aerate it, and again, when you do this starter, you add half a cup of DME dry malt extract with the 2 cups of water, pitch yeast, put on a stir plate, and let it stir between 12 and 24 hours. So that looks that looks really nice. So what are we doing
You're
now?
overflowing.
Oh shit.
Oops. You want me to pause?
Yep. Okay, so we're back. We have a little bit foam going on. Keep in mind, we really did a marvelous job on the yeast starter. So the yeast is very active, going crazy. And normally you would put this bong with the airlock. The problem is, the first few days, this thing will be so active, the yeast will be so active, it will be foaming like you haven't seen it, you know. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna basically put this, they call it a blow-off hose. Yep. No, first we need to put the hose and then put the whole thing in a carboy like this and like this. Okay, and then the end of the hose will go into the bucket with the Sunstar, you know, cleaner, and it will basically, we'll put it, you know, in place, and we'll show you basically how it works. Okay, so stay tuned. We'll be back with you. Okay, so we have our beer or wort in our carboy. The next step is to basically check the so-called beer gravity. So obviously the beer is heavier than water because it contains a lot of sugar. So this thingy basically floats. It's a hydrometer. It floats. So what we doing in order to check the content, the alcohol content, we use the hydrometer, and typically you would just spin it like that to make sure all the air bubbles release from the surface, and then we going 1, and you can see it should say 1.04. See, it says 40. Okay, so that's basically, that's a starting point, and that's exactly where we want to be. Okay, so we take this number right now, and once we finish the fermentation, we're gonna take another reading, and the difference in the sugar will tell us how much alcohol content is in a beer. So we take that, it's 1.040, which is perfectly fine, you know, for this beer. It's dead on. That's exactly where we want to be. So we're gonna basically put our beer and let it go through fermentation for 2 weeks. So we'll see you in a couple of weeks. See ya. Okay, so this is our first day of fermentation. You could see the temperature is a little bit below 78. So that's a little bit warmer than we would like it to be, but well, it is what it is. So we can see the activity. Actually, I was afraid that we may need to use the blow-off hose because of the strong reaction, but apparently that little airlock works pretty good. So as you can see, the yeast is doing its work, and we have a nice foam which is called a krausen, and that milky fluid, that's our wort. So basically wort, which is unfermented beer, so it's going through the fermentation process, and this is basically what it looks like. So day first, pretty good active fermentation going on. Nice foam, you can see inside, everything looks pretty good. Looks very healthy. So I'll keep you updated. I keep you posted in a couple of days once the fermentation kind of slows down. So see you till then. Okay, so it's been a couple of weeks, and today we're gonna transfer beer from the primary fermenter to the secondary fermenter, and we're gonna use that little pump. Let the guy going. And that's it. We're gonna drain it, and then we're gonna clean the 6-gallon carboy and make it ready for tomorrow, because tomorrow we'll brewing a Pilsner, so we're quite excited about it. And that's about it. Okay, so we are reading the final gravity, which is 1.009. That gives us about 4%, 4.1% alcohol content. That's what we can expect. Not too strong beer, but I'm sure it will be very delicious. Okay, so that's our primary carboy fermenter, and you can see at the bottom that sludge. That's basically the yeast. And if you look inside, you can see this is basically what's left. Some people reuse it. It's called watering yeast. I'm not gonna do it. This is my secondary fermenter. You can see it's a little bit smaller. It's 5-gallon, and that's a 5-gallon of Irish red ale, and we're gonna let it sit. You can see it's still kind of bubbling a little bit. We're gonna set it and mature it for for exactly a couple of weeks, and after 2 weeks it will be time to basically transfer it for bottling. So until then, enjoy, and we'll catch up with you in about a couple of weeks.